Hello, everybody. Halfway through the week, just a few days away from the divisional round in the NFL. Larry Hartstein, RJ White, Will Brinson, Caludia Bellofatto with you here on the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM. Make it legendary. As usual, we're going to run through every single game. We'll give you our best side, total, player prop. We'll talk some futures at the end with a bit of a twist, though. We do have rules. Everybody gets $1,000 of a bankroll. You have to bet it. Max bet is $200. Max to win on any bet is $500. And everybody has to make at least one bet and one bet on futures. And you must use the $1,000 each week. You can see how we've done so far. Larry leading the way. Then there's me. Obviously, that's a typo, but I am second there. RJ and Will, and I can feel it this week, Will. You're going to bounce back. Your Rams made it through somehow. Did not cover the 10, but they made it past the Panthers. And RJ's been doing this for a while, and he's up pretty much everywhere, so I have faith in him to bounce back as well. Let's get into it. Before we do, though, I have to mention, and you all know this if you've been watching the games, absolute nail biters. That's why these big spreads are scary. This is the most fourth quarter lead changes we've seen in NFL history, and the most game-winning touchdowns in the final 3 minutes all time. So that is why I stay away from the big spreads. With that, we talk about a very short spread, a pick'em on Saturday with the Bills and the Broncos. It's a rematch, as we know from last season. Bills ended the Broncos' chances. It was an absolute blowout. Very different circumstances this time around. Very different teams. Bills, the only team in the NFL riding a 6-year streak of appearing in the divisional round, but they're limping into it. RJ White, let's talk about a side first.
Yeah, I got the Broncos money line, huge revenge spot, as you mentioned, from last year. That was kind of their status check of how good the Broncos were, and they found out they needed to go out and get more players and be better, and that's what has happened. Once again, this is Josh Allen versus a better roster top to bottom, and it could go either way, really. So, I get if you want to take the Bills. He was Superman against Jacksonville. Buffalo's defense was tremendous. He had a lot of contributions from some of the older players that have been struggling, guys like Trey White, Matt Prater with his injury. Brandon Cooks shows up, and it resulted in a nail-biter win. So it feels like everything went right that had to happen. You got the awesome game from Allen. Barely won that game. I think that's very tough to repeat. With Denver's home field and rest advantage, I think they should be at least 3-point favorites in this game. So I got to go with the value. I'm taking the Broncos money line at -108 and putting 100 on it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'll actually double that. I'm going to put 200 on the Broncos, and this is such a fun story. It's so fun to see Josh Allen put the hero cape on. But we're talking about a guy that was in the medical tent twice. He came into that game with a foot. Now he has a knee. And you're down, guys, not only on offense. Dalton Kincaid is banged up. It looks like he might be good to go, but he's banged up. Several guys questionable on defense. Jordan Poyer is out of this game. They have 3 healthy receivers, 3 healthy wide receivers on a 53-man roster. It's not good news. They got through the best run defense in the NFL with the Jags. Now they face the number 2 run defense in the Broncos, who also have a better pass rush and a better secondary. And you're talking about the Bills, who are facing a team that's coming off the bye. They're at home in the elevation. Bills all banged up on a short week, have to go through 2 time zones. I love Josh Allen. I just don't see how they get it done here. So that is the 2 Broncos sides of things. Now we'll send it to the other 2 guys here who are on the Bills. Larry Hartstein, I'll give you the floor first.
Well, it's only a lean for me after those convincing arguments from both of you. I have $350 invested in this game, but not on the side. I agree with most of the points you made. I will mention Ed Oliver could be back for the Bills, which is a big piece. And Josh Allen was 28 of 35. I mean, he was just so highly efficient, highly accurate. He's still got Khalil Shakir. He still has his running backs. Ty Johnson will be back. And the Broncos, I agree with you. It looks like the right side, but when I remember how they played against the Jets, Giants, Commanders, Raiders, I mean, all of those nail biters, I just can't get there. So I'm going to lean Bills plus 1.5, but not use it in my 1,000.
Well,
Yeah, so look, I think you guys make compelling cases for the Broncos, and I don't disagree. I think the same thing could be said for the Jaguars last week, right? The better team, overall roster, should be in the better position. But you know what the other team has? Josh Allen. And I firmly believe if the Bills got through the Jaguars and we got a Josh Allen Superman game, that we're going to get this Bills Super Bowl run. And by the way, I may be down, but I'm the only one who has week 1 futures. I got 100 in futures still remaining with the Rams-Bills matchup and then both of those teams to win the Super Bowl. So it's not dead yet. Don't worry about week one. I think Allen goes Superman again here. And I know, yeah, he does have a foot. He does have a knee. He does have an ankle. He does have a head. He has all kinds of things. He got so banged up in that game. The Broncos love to slow play it. I mean, they are one of the slowest teams because of Sean Payton's, just in terms of offense and Sean Payton's play calls. You always see Bo Nix snapping the ball late. And so I think we could get a really close game here. And I'm just going to trust, even as good as the Broncos have been late in games, Josh Allen to do Josh Allen things and go win this game and drag the Bills into the next round. I think the team's rallying around him and all the stuff he said in the locker room after, shooters bleep and shoot, etc. I'll take the Bills for 100 on the money line.
Josh Allen is the first quarterback in playoff history to have 6 straight starts with 0 turnovers. So without a doubt, I mean, he's an MVP of that team and the league. I will say, just to add on to this before we talk about a total, which it sounds like a lot of us are going to be on the same side there, I think the Bills won that game despite their defense. We talked about how bad their defense was heading into that game. They gave up almost 360 yards, 6.6 yards a play. T-Law had 3 touchdown passes, so lots of pressure on Josh Allen up against the league leader in sacks with this Broncos front. Let's talk about the total. Did we see much movement here, RJ? Not much on this total, I don't believe.
Maybe a half
so
point.
We're talking 46.5. Let's come to you first, Will. You're leaning on the over.
I'll lean over a little bit. I don't love it. I think you could see either way, depending on like if both teams try to slow it down and just run the ball a ton, you could see this go under. But I do think we get a lot of back and forth, similar to what we got in that Jacksonville-Buffalo game in the second half.
Rest of us are on the under. So Larry, you can go first.
Yeah, I have 100 under 46.5. 2 of the top 4 pass defenses in the league, which means a lot of running, which bleeds the clock. I think this will be conservative. I love under 46.5.
RJ?
I'm just leaning under 9.5 on the first quarter. I think this could be a slow starting game. You mentioned Ed Oliver might be back. Bills lost those 2 receivers. Kincaid banged up. Only 3 points in the first quarter of that Bills game last week, despite the 51 points in the final. Before Week 18, only one of the previous 8 Broncos games got to 10 points in the first quarter. I don't expect Sean Payton to get aggressive and open it up early, so I would lean to the under in the first quarter here.
Dre Greenlaw also back for Denver, so that helps their defense. The reason the Broncos have been one of the most profitable teams cashing their under. Bills are banged up, as I said. I don't really trust their defense. Their defense is not positive if we're going under here, but Denver's offense is not that explosive. They don't have to put up 30-plus points. They've only done that a handful of games. They hit the under because of their defense, so that's the way I'm going to go with that. Let's move on to player props, and you can go anywhere here, whatever market you want. Larry, what player are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm spending $250 on these props. Khalil Shakir for 100 to go over 5.5 catches. I mean, he had 12 catches on 12 targets last week. We talked about how there's only 3 receivers left, and he has the best matchup inside against slot corner Jaquan McMillan, easily the weak link on that Denver defense. Shakir will be there 70% of the time, so I love this plus money. And then 150 on Bo Nix rushing yards over 22.5 when they played last year. 4 for 43. This is an elite Bills pass defense that will cover guys and force you to run. They also sit back in that 2 high safety look, and Bo Nix likes to scramble against that look. I love him over 22.5.
RJ, you looking at Bo Nix?
Yeah, I like Knicks, longest completion under 34.5. I'm putting 100 on it at a minus 118. Buffalo 5th in net yards per pass. They see the lowest passing volume in the league. Only allowed 6 completions to 35-plus all year. None longer than 40. Only one of those came in the last 2 months. And that was Mike Gesicki getting to 37 against Cincy, a team that is terrible. You know, it has a lot of other weapons, but that's the guy they let go. So I just don't think Knicks is going to attack downfield that much here. And I like the under in 34.5 on longest completion.
Will, Josh Allen touchdown is only minus 110. I wish I saw that. I would have put $100 on that.
Maybe put 1,000 on it. I mean, he's got to put the team on his back, right? And if they get down to the goal line, they obviously love running James Cook. It was a bad matchup against Jacksonville, a tough matchup against Denver as well. I just think they're going to feed Josh Allen, as banged up as he was. I mean, like maybe he had a concussion, was dealing with like what looked like to most people would have been a broken leg. He had the ankle already, and he's still running the ball down the goal line, dragging guys 8 yards to the 1 yard line and almost scoring a second time. So I like Josh Allen to score here at that number. number. I also think, as Larry and RJ really both pointed out with the Bo Nix stuff and the Bills' defensive fronts and the way that they play, Bo Nix is going to run. I like Bo Nix over rushing yards as well, but I'm going to take Bo Nix touchdown at I think it's plus 310. It's in the 300 range. I'm going to put 50 on Josh Allen anytime touchdown, 50 on Bo Nix anytime touchdown, and we're going to put 25 on a Bo Nix Josh Allen anytime touchdown parlay.
All right, lots of options. You guys are going with, I'm not going to call it the smart players, the popular players. I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks. Yes, I am. I'm going to do it because there's only 3 healthy receivers. He's one of them. He's seen 11 targets over the last 2 games. We've seen a 100-yard game from him, a near 60-yard game, and they're going to need to use him because I do see them falling behind in this one. There you have it. We've ripped through the first one. We have our second Saturday game coming up on the other side. Niners, Seahawks, biggest spread of the day. See what our crew thinks about it. We've got 4 divisional matchups this weekend. We went through one of them. We have our second game on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Back with the squad, Will, RJ, Larry, and Claudia. Let's talk the biggest spread of the entire weekend. We've got the Niners and Seahawks. Seahawks coming off that bye. They're at home, laying 7.5, 7. It opened 7, key number. Market pushed it to 7.5. We've seen some pushback, so 7, 7.5, depending on which way you want to go. Of course, if you want the dog, grab the hook. Total at 45 in the hook. We saw this 2 weeks ago. Seahawks won it on the road 13-3. Lower scoring back in week 1. Niners won that 17-13. Let's talk about a side first, and we'll come to you first, Will.
Oh, lovely. Right as I'm coughing. Thanks, Claudia. Look, I will. I'll lean towards the 49ers here. It's not like disrespectful because 2 weeks ago we saw the Seahawks go into San Francisco and just strangle the 49ers offense. But like, it's a lot of points for a rubber match. I mean, the 49ers won this game in week 1, obviously a lot healthier on defense, but I lean towards the 49ers. I just worry that if that defense comes to play for Seattle and you factor in, San Francisco playing on Sunday, arriving back in San Francisco Monday at like 2 a.m., and then having to go to Seattle, who just rested for a week on Saturday. It's just a really bad spot for the Niners. So just lean 49ers with the points here for me.
RJ, it's a lean for you too.
Yeah, the George Kittle injury is massive, but they survived without him earlier in the season. The biggest thing to me is having Trent Williams back. They did not have him for that Week 18 game. Yeah. The offensive line got completely slaughtered. He I think, is the MVP. You're never going to give it to an offensive tackle, but he means the most to any team, I think, based on what we saw in that game. And without him, they were in trouble. I think Shanahan's going to score enough points to keep this relatively close, as long as the Seahawks don't score a ton of points. And as we'll talk about, I don't see that happening. Sam Darnold in a pressure spot there. I just don't trust him. So that's why I would lean 49ers plus 7.5. I'm probably not going to play it at 7, but I think it's going to be a tighter game.
There's a lot of impressive teams this season. Niners have to be the most impressive for all of the injuries they've suffered. If they get through this without George Kittle, Larry Hartstein, it's going to be shocking, but you don't think that happens?
I don't think so. It would be an amazing story, and Kyle Shanahan, in my mind, deserves Coach of the Year. But the Seahawks have gotten healthier since that last meeting. They get their left tackle back, Charles Cross. They get their safety back, Kobe Durant. They totally dominated that game. They were 0 for 3 in the red zone. They held the ball for 38 minutes. They held the Niners to 4 yards of play and only 173 yards. I don't think it's going to be much different this time. Maybe the Seahawks convert once or twice in the red zone. They're going to shut down the run. They're going to force Brock Purdy to make a lot of throws to a depleted receiving core. I think there'll be a turnover or 2. I'm going to lay 7. You can find this at minus 114. You don't have to lay 7.5 if you like Seattle and play it for 100.
You can do that. It sounds like we're all sort of on the same page that the Niners are limping into this. Seahawks, as we know, coming in fresh off the bye at home. So I'm just going to take this first quarter with the Seahawks, getting it under that key number of 3. So minus 2.5 at minus 112. I'll put 150 on this. As I said, Seahawks fresh. We do look at that last game and what they were able to limit the Niners to. Just 9 first downs, 1 trip to the red zone. Brock Purdy, a pick, 3 sacks, no touchdown. CMC, I know we all sort of talked about he might not have a big game on the ground, just 23 yards rushing there. And George Kittle, a massive part of this offense. He had 5 catches in that game, went 4 for 4 in that week 1 matchup. So I do think the Seahawks can cover this number, but I'd rather get in, get out in the first quarter and lay that 2.5. They're top 5 in first quarter points, but number 1 at home in the first quarter points. Let's talk some totals now, and we'll come to you first, Larry.
I'm going to go under on the Niners team total, under 18.5, and I'm going to put 100 on it. We talked about George Kittle not being there. That is huge in terms of the run game. I don't think they're going to have any success running the ball, just like last time, even though Trent Williams is out there. This is a swarming defense, and yeah, maybe they get to 17. The first 2 games they've played against them, 17 and 3 points. I think 17 is the ceiling.
We're all on the unders, so RJ, talk to us.
Yeah, I'm going to put 200 on it. Under 45.5 is still available on the market at minus 115, so that's what we're taking, even though it's come down a bit. I grabbed it at SportsLine Monday morning thinking it could come down. Neither of their first 2 games got past 30 points. San Francisco's defense stepped up in the last 2 games against the Eagles, against the Seahawks. I don't think Darnold is going to get this team to 30 points, just based on what we've seen with him in high-pressure spots. And the Seattle defense has been excellent most of the season. You take away defensive and special teams touchdowns, this team's allowed 14.5 points per game since week 6. They're, this beat up offense, I don't think is going to score a ton on this either. I'm seeing a 20 to 16, 20 to 15 type of game here. So 200 on the under for me.
All right, strong play there, Will.
Yeah, I got 100 on the under as well. Look, I think, both coaches, first of all, as RJ points out, like both of these games, we've seen these 2 teams play twice, and both of these games went way under. And then you look at this game in particular, and both of these coaches should be highly motivated to keep the score low. Obviously, you'd love to win in a blowout, but for Seattle, if the score is low and you're pounding the ball and playing great defense and forcing the Niners to throw a lot, you're probably not asking Sam Darnold to do that much. Just be efficient and don't make mistakes. I don't think they're going to try and throw the ball down the field a ton or be super aggressive. Just let JSN convert on 3rd downs and then feed Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. For the Niners, it's like you can get in a shootout and maybe that works for you, but then you have to be hitting on every single drive. I think they'd love to keep this kind of a sloggy, let's score early, hope to hang around and then steal it just like they did against Philadelphia. So I like the under a lot here.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement, and I really don't have that much to add, but I'll let our team put my little graphic up there so you guys can see. I am on the under. I tried to find ways maybe to go the other way, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, which is why I stayed away from that massive spread. Seahawks could put up 40 points here. I just don't see where the points are going to come from the 49ers. Let's move on to player props, and I will swing it to you, RJ.
I'm putting 100 on Kyle Juszczyk over 1.5 receptions, minus 138. Became the de facto George Kittle replacement in the game last week. Caught all 4 targets, 449 yards. It's his 3rd straight game with multiple targets. And you go back to the last time the Niners were in the postseason 2 years ago, he had multiple receptions in the last 2 games there. It happened in 11 of 18 games this year and in both Seahawks games. So it just seems like a situation where they should use him. They have used him in the past. Seattle's likely going to take away the downfield plays with their awesome secondary, get some pressure on Purdy, dump it off here to Kyle Juszczyk. He can play a key role in the pass game.
Him and Jake Tonjes, and that's where I'm going to go over 35.5 receiving yards. I think it's going to be an all-hands-on-deck situation with them playing from behind. And the games we've seen with Tonjes, no George Kittle, 29 catches, just under 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, almost 5 catches on an average of 7 targets, 45 yards a game. And the Seahawks, as good of a defense as they have, they're pretty weak against the tight end position, allowing the 4th most targets and catches to tight ends in over 63 yards. And all I need is 35.5. And I'm going to put 50 on that. Let's talk about Christian McCaffrey, Larry.
I'm going under on his carries, under 16.5 carries. It just seems like a high number against a team that he had 8 carries against just a few weeks ago. It's going to be hard to run. He might get 6 to 10 catches. This might be the latter game that we've talked about for Christian McCaffrey, but I don't think it's going to be on the ground game, so I'm going to look at him under on his attempts.
Well,
I'm going to go Brock Purdy over rush yards. I think this is just a spot where maybe you end up with no Trent Williams. You're not going to have George Kittle. Purdy's going to have to use his legs. He hit the over, I believe, in both of these games, or at least was close. He took a kneel down in week one and maybe missed it. But, at 18.5, you're only asking him to get to 20. He can do that in 2 rushes. And this is, divisional round game. You're laying it all out there. If you see an opening, Purdy's going to take off. I don't expect him to be taking knees at the end of this game. I would be pretty unexpected if it was. But even then, I still think he gets to 25 rushing yards and maybe even finds the end zone.
There you have it. Niners, Seahawks. That is the late game on Saturday, 8 p.m. kickoff. On the other side, we're getting into the 2 Sunday games. My Patriots. The schedule is getting harder, everybody. We'll see if they can make it past the Texans. That's coming up. That man right there. I have faith. I don't know about you guys. We'll talk about it. Welcome back to the Early Edge, running through these divisional games. We got our first 2 Saturday games down. Now we move on to Sunday. And with a 3 p.m. kickoff, the Patriots look to continue what's been a historic season with Drake May under center. They welcome in the Texans. They took down the Chargers. Kind of a snooze fest. If you weren't a Patriots fan, they won it 16-3, but not much scoring there. Final score for Houston was an absolute blowout against the Steelers, but it was a 1-point game heading into that fourth quarter, and then we saw an explosion of points. We saw the Patriots open a 2.5-point favorite, quickly move to 3, and the line hasn't moved back since. And Will, I'm going to let you have the floor first, because you are the only person grabbing the points, which I understand. It's a very tough defense. You're grabbing the points with the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, this is not me doing the whole bit where I make fun of the Patriots soft schedule. I mean, I just think, I would be shocked if Nico Collins plays in this game. I mean, he was questionable to return. He's playoff questionable. The playoff concussion protocol, by the way. We need to look at this, NFL. But I think with the Texas defense is just the best in the league by a wide margin. Seattle's awesome. They're a close second. But this Texas defense is unbelievable. They get after you on every level. And I think the stuff that the Patriots would want to do, whether it's a short passing stuff to Ramondre and Travion Henderson or trying to go deep, I don't know where this offense is going to come from for the Patriots. I think it's going to be a slugfest. Maybe we get some turnovers. I don't think the Texans are necessarily going to do a ton on offense either. But unlike the Chargers, I think the Texans will be able to move the ball some, be able to close out some drives, and at least keep it closer than the Chargers did and maybe pull off an upset. I think it's a field goal game either way, and I'll take the points in that kind of low-scoring divisional matchup.
I see you all have 100 on your play. So Will, 100 on the Texans. RJ, you're putting 100 on the Patriots. You and I talk about the Patriots pretty much every week. You asked me why I just have a lean here, and I said the left side of that offensive line's worrying me. This defensive front, one of the toughest in the NFL. But it makes me feel good that you have 100 on my Patriots.
Yeah, if the Texans are number 1 defense, Seahawks are number 2, Patriots are pushing for that number 3 spot. Now that they're getting healthy, they had 3 key guys back over the last 2 weeks. Yep. The play caller had an amazing game. The Chargers players reportedly went up to the Patriots players, said, "You guys confused us. We had no idea what you were doing the whole time." So, it was, banner game for him. We talk about the Chargers O-line being terrible. They had Jamari Salyer back. That's about as good as they're going to get at left tackle. He's been solid for them down the stretch, and it did not matter. So I think that they're going to have similar success against a Houston offensive line that isn't that impressive, especially in the middle with Milton Williams there. Stroud does not look ready to deal with pressure. We saw him fumbling the ball left and right in that game last week, and I think that's going to be the case again in this one. New England coming off their worst point total since week 3, still had 6 yards per play in that game. Offense won't be shut down completely, so I think they're going to cover the 3. I have the line at 5.5, so I'm putting 100 on Patriots -3.
Yeah, all the credit in the world to Zach Core, who took over the DC role when Williams unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer earlier this year, who the Patriots had brought in originally. But you said it, the Chargers players went to the sideline. All of the analysts, Dan Orlovsky said, I was watching, and we know, whatever he did in the league was the league, but he's a great quarterback mind. He said, I had absolutely no idea what coverage they're in 80% of the snaps. So he's doing an amazing job. Like you said, RJ, this defense is getting healthier. Okay, I'm feeling better, Larry. Keep it going.
Yeah, nobody was open for the Chargers either. Hopefully Christian Gonzalez will be back, but even if not, that secondary was locking down. I just want to say the Texans defense is truly elite, but they looked like the '85 Bears because they were against a statue of a quarterback who didn't have weapons, who had a very unimaginative play caller. And now you have opposite. You have Drake May, who is very mobile. You have a very imaginative play caller, and you have multiple weapons. So I think it is a totally different challenge for this Texans defense. I'm not saying the Patriots are putting up 30 or anything, but I think they get to 23 or so, and I think they hold the Texans to 17. CJ Stroud was extremely shaky, and without Nico Collins, I think he's going to struggle.
Yeah, 5 fumbles in that game. He only lost 2 of them, thankfully for him, but we all saw it. There was 5 fumbles in that game. The turnovers, even if they're not complete turnovers, they're turnover-worthy throws. He's top 10 in turnover-worthy throws, so I do think he's going to struggle because we just saw Justin Herbert struggle, and he is a great quarterback. 0 touchdowns, 6 sacks, 1 for 13 on late downs, 0 for 2 in the red zone. I really do like the Patriots. I'm just saying lean because I'm scared. And three's a lot of points for a game that I think is going to be lower scoring. All of that said, the Patriots are 24-5 at home in the playoffs, and Houston is the only team in the NFL who has never made it to a conference championship.
They're at a Tom Brady at home in the playoffs stat. I mean, come on.
It is the best since Tom Brady in every facet of the way in the topic. Okay, let's talk about the total. I think it's going to be under, so I'll just quickly say this is a lean for me. We know what the Texans defense can do. The Pats defense has stepped up. 6 of the last 8 teams the Patriots have faced 20 or fewer points. CJ Stroud possibly without his top weapon. All of the reasons I mentioned earlier. I do think it's going to be a lower scoring game, so it's a lean for me on the under. Talk to me, Larry, why you like the Texans team total under.
Yeah, I'm going to lean under on the Texans team total. D'Amico Ryans, they are such a conservative offense. They really want to hand the ball to Woody Marks 17 to 20 times. They had success doing that against the Steelers. I don't think they're going to have that success against this revamped Patriots defensive front. That looked like the Patriots defense that we saw at the beginning of the year when it was impossible to run on them. So without Nico Collins potentially struggling to run the ball, very conservative, unless they get a defensive touchdown or 2, I don't think they're going over their team total.
RJ, you like this play?
Yeah, I got 100 on the Texans team total under, fading, hopefully a defensive touchdown. I think Drake May will be a lot better with the ball there. Yeah. I'm buying into the defense with the sharp play calling. You mentioned Robert Spillane, Harold Landry, Milton Williams, like I said, all 3 back over the last 2 weeks. And Houston's offense may not have Nico Collins, as Will said. I can't trust Christian Kirk to come and have another game like he did. I think he had 100-something yards in that game. I don't think they're going to be able to lean on the run game to the same level as Larry's mentioned. So Texans team total under 19.5 for 100 on minus 110.
Will, you're looking at the over.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was kind of going contrarian here. It's just a lean. I don't think, this is not a total that I'd want to bet because I think both teams are really live to score defensive touchdowns. So, like, you're going to ask for a little bit of luck here. But I do think that the Texans will come in and try to be aggressive early in this game, maybe throw down the field. If you get Nico Collins back, it looks a lot better, of course. But, yeah, you could see a lot of running. You do have some explosive playmakers on both sides of the ball. And I do think we see at least one defensive touchdown in this game. So, like, that's where I think the over comes from, but it's just a lean. I wouldn't play anything on this total personally.
All right, we'll move on to props then, and I will come to you first, Larry.
I like Stephon Diggs to kind of bounce back. He was nowhere to be seen in that first game, very few yards, but this is a good matchup because he will line up in the slot. They'll put him all over the place. You don't want to attack those great corners for the Texans on the outside. You want to come inside. I think this is a game that sets up well for Stephon Diggs.
Will?
Yeah, I've got a 100 on Drake May's rushing total over. Big theme for divisional round. I think we see a lot of rushing quarterback action in this spot. It was like wild card round was tight end rushing. I think you got to be a little careful running him here because you got some hard hitting dudes on that Texans defense. But if you were watching the Steelers Texans game, there were several opportunities for Aaron Rodgers, who's 42 and can't run, to take off and pick up 10 plus yards. And I think May is just an electric runner. He's a big guy. Brothers obviously played basketball at Carolina. And I think that Josh McDaniels may even dial up some design stuff to kind of ease the pressure that Houston can put on him, get him out of the pocket, give him first looks. If they're not there, take off running. I think we see plenty of rushing. And Claudia, I believe you have 300 on Drake May anytime 2 touchdowns. Is that right?
I mean, you like it, I like it. I put 200, but I could be talked into 300. No, I do love this play 100%. You just talked about what he did against the Chargers. Took off 10 times for 66 yards, and this is nothing different all season long. He's extended plays, and it's not just scrambling to get away from the defense a yard or two. He extends the play. 38 first down rushes for him so far this season. What is this graphic here? Oh, youngest Patriot quarterback to win playoff game. Drake May, Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe. Thank you to our team back there for backing my case up. So the Texans, they do actually do well at limiting quarterback rush attempts, but when quarterbacks get going, they go over 6.5 yards per attempt. So I love this play. Drake May over 33.5 rush yards. It's all on the line. He's going to put on the hero cape. I see it coming, and I'll be at the game, so I will be sweating all of these bets out. We got one more game to break down, the Sunday night game. That is all 4 of the divisional matchups. The Rams, the Bears. It's going down Sunday, 6:30. We'll talk about it on the other side. Welcome back to the Early Edge. RJ White, Larry Hartstein, Will Brinson, Caludia Bellofatto with you. We have one last game on this divisional card. We have kickoff on Sunday, 6:30. Bears hosting the Rams. The Rams open a 4-point favorite. There are some 4s still. Total down to 3 points. No, it's not. That would not make sense. The total's down 3 points to 48.5, so there has been some movement there. Let's talk about a side first and what happened in the last game. Rams needed 2 go-ahead drives in the 4th to win against the Panthers, which is crazy because they were 10-point favorites and everybody on this show thought they were going to plummet them, and they didn't. Bears, though, also needed 25 points in the 4th quarter to beat the Packers. So both had big comeback wins. We'll see how they start off this week. We're starting with sides, and RJ, talk to me about the Rams.
Yeah, we're starting with sides, but, it's speaking on the total, the fact that it dropped 3 points has me starting to get a little worried about Matthew Stafford's health. They said his finger is okay, and if he is, I think the Rams are going to score a bunch of points. Bears playing with house money here after beating the rival Packers. I think my lean is going to be the Rams 3.5. I look at this game. The Bears are the type of team I want to take against the Rams to pull off the upset. They have a high ceiling offense with Ben Johnson calling the shots and all the weapons they have there, and they have a defense that has been awesome at generating takeaways. So this is the type of team that has given Stafford trouble in the past. 2 takeaway games, 3 takeaway games against the Falcons and Panthers, for example, down the stretch. But injuries to Ozzie Trapello at left tackle could be massive against this defense. Also lost T.J. Edwards at linebacker. Rams relatively healthy. I know they did lose a cornerback, but my lean is going to be the Rams, but don't love it.
Okay, Larry.
Yeah, and they get Kevin Dotson and Terrence Ferguson back, hopefully. I think the total dropping is more a factor about the weather than it is about Stafford's finger. I just think this is going to be a great shootout. I don't think either team is going to stop the other very often. The Rams' defense has really faltered down the stretch, but I think the offense is going to do whatever it wants, especially on the ground in the cold, and they'll ultimately cover the number.
18 degrees expected, a possible chance of snow. The Rams haven't played a playoff game at kickoff in freezing temperatures since 1983 in the NFC wildcard round against the Cowboys. You're all on the Rams, so Will put a bow on it.
Yeah, what do you think? I'm going to take the Bears here. It's just a lean, though. I do think the 3.5 is a little tough. With Caleb Williams, doing the stuff that he does in the second half. And, sometimes you see Sean McVay, even with a lead, kind of lock it down, try to run the ball, salt it away. But I do think they might be a little more aggressive here, knowing that the Bears are so capable of coming back if they have a lead in the second half. So, I want to take the Rams, but the 3.5 has got me a little shook.
And for those who don't know, if you haven't been with us all season, the Rams are Will's squad. So I'm happy for you and I that our teams have made it this far. That being said, injuries worry me, but I'll still take the 3.5. It's a lean. It's more so a play on the number because we're getting past that key number. I don't see a way where the Rams blow them out if they couldn't blow the Panthers out, because the Panthers didn't have a good defense. And now they're facing a defense that's still not great, but they do lead the league in takeovers. So if they can force some of those mistakes, I think they can keep it close. And, well, they're the cardiac Bears. 7 wins when down in the final 2 minutes of the 4th quarter. That's a record. They have 3 wins down 10 or more points in the final 5 minutes. The rest of the league has 3. They're 3-158. And the Bears themselves have 3 wins. I just don't want to deal with that cardiac part of it all. So I would lean the Bears. Let's talk about the total. We talked about the movement already. So let's see. Will, you're putting 100 on the Rams. So this is a play you like, team total.
Yeah, I put 100 on the Rams team total over 26.5. I'm also going to put 50 on the Rams team total over 34.5 at plus 320. You're going to read a lot over the next couple of days or see a lot of stats about Matthew Stafford in the cold and the Rams in the coldest playoff game ever. I don't care. The Rams, like, if you think Matthew Stafford's scared of the cold, I mean, dude lived in Detroit for a decade plus. Like, I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. I know they play indoors. You don't think he's playing some outdoor games? He's going to be fine. And he's going to go out there. He's going to be locked in. Puka Nacua is going to have a huge game. Devontae Adams, huge game. They're going to throw all over the Bears. And yeah, I think the Bears probably end up coming back some in the second half. And that's going to result in the Rams continue to keep their foot on the gas and going over 35 points. If they want to score 50, they can.
I didn't realize we're literally all in the same exact play. So, Larry, you also like this play, 150 on Rams team total.
Yeah, we've all been fans of this team total all year, and you rarely see it under 27, which is a huge key number. They've cleared this in 7 of their last 8. The weather is the reason that we're seeing this at 26.5, but the wind does not look to be too severe. Getting back your best offensive lineman against a Bears defense, giving up 6.5 yards of play in the last 3 games. I think Green Bay could have put up a lot more if they had gone for it on 4th and 2 from around midfield with a 21-6 lead. I think the Rams are going to be able to run. They're going to be able to throw. I love this over 26.5.
RJ?
Yeah, I don't care about the weather. I think you need to make them 29.5 in every game. You know, the way that they've been playing. You said 7 of 8. I mean, 2 of 12 has been under 27 as well. So you can go back further, and they are just scoring a ton of points. And Chicago's defense giving up 6 yards per play, 28th in net yards per pass attempt. Only reason I didn't put money on this is everyone else did. I got to try to catch Larry. So I had it as a big play early on. I saw Larry took it, and I said I got to apportion my money somewhere else. So it's only a lean for me here.
Yeah, honestly, the more I look at, I don't know why I only put $50 on it, because Rams team total is something I've been writing since like week 2. Somebody on Twitter, are we hitting it again? Yeah, we are. I'd probably put more than 50, but it's fine. I did bring it down to 25.5, although 27 is the key number. You pay a little more juice at minus 135. You just don't know. The playoffs are wacky. The points are all over the place. So I brought it down a bit, but they have and continue to be one of the most efficient teams in the red zone, scoring touchdowns over 63% of the time. So we're all in agreement there. Rams over on their team total. Let's finish off with some player props. RJ?
I have 100 on Puka Nacua, anytime touchdown. Typically, anytime touchdown odds aren't great. I'm getting minus 115 here. Chicago's defense allowed the 3rd most reception touchdowns to receivers in the regular season. Then 4 different receivers scored touchdowns for Green Bay last week. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, and Matthew Golden to close it out. Puka's slightly behind Devontae Adams in odds, but he scored in 4 straight. 8 touchdowns in his last 6 games. I think he has to get the end zone here against this defense. So minus 115, put 100 on it.
Larry?
Blake Corum over 9.5 rush attempts. This is a number that he has cleared in every game but one down the stretch. And because of the bitter cold, if we do think we see a slightly higher run rate and a slightly lower pass rate, that's going to mean another touch or 2 for Blake Corum, who they love and who they rotate in regularly.
Will?
I'm going over Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua, 3 receptions in the first quarter at plus 196. Puka had 4 targets in the first quarter last week. They're going to script that first drive. It's going to be heavy Puka. They're going to throw to him a lot. I think he gets 3 receptions on the first drive. They should get 2 drives just in case he doesn't. And we catch a 2-1. I also have a 4-player anytime touchdown parlay across all the games. We're going to put 15 on that at 10-1. Devontae Adams, Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, and Zach Charbonnet. I got to make up some ground here, so we're going big. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you cash out there, you're going to make your way to the top of that leaderboard. Matthew Stafford, I know he's dealing with the index finger. I don't know if that's played into this number. That seems a little too low. I know weather is a factor too, but 22.5 completions, that's something I am going over. He's only missed it twice over the last 6 games, and he only ever missed by the hook, regardless of game script, whether they're ahead or playing from behind. He has cashed this almost 600 attempts this season, the 3rd most completions, and he's facing a Bears squad allowing over 32 attempts, over 21 completions a game. You can see there, most consecutive playoff games teams with 2 or more passing touchdowns. Stafford's right there with Rodgers and Flacco, so maybe a little parlay if you wanted to bring the completions down with a passing touchdown. Some options for you. On the other side, we're not done yet. We're going to talk some futures because there is still time. We'll give you some divisional props, little bit to win a lot. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side of the break. Wrapping up this divisional round breakdown on the early edge with Will, RJ, Larry. We're going to wrap it up with some futures and divisional props. So interesting markets where you get a decent payout, bet a little to win a lot. We're going to start with the highest scoring game. And there's a lot of agreement here. We're all looking at this Rams-Bears game, so we'll rip through it. RJ, you go first.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams as the highest scoring team on the weekend at plus 275. It's a good matchup for them. There's not really a lot of offenses I trust at this point, so I avoided the game and just wanted to take 275 on the Rams. So 50 for me on that.
And I'm putting
I'm going
50. Oh, excuse me, Will. I'm putting 150 on this game, Rams-Bears, to be the highest scoring of the weekend at plus 130. And that's a process of elimination. You look at Patriots, Texans, Seahawks, 49ers, not so worried about those games. And Bills-Broncos, which does have the potential for some points. I think it's going to be very run-heavy given how great both teams are against the pass. So Rams-Bears, neither can stop the other.
Yeah, I'm going Rams high scoring team as well. Sorry about that, Larry. And I do think, you could end up seeing that game being the high scoring, but I like the slightly better odds there with the Rams at plus 275. I think they put up a big number, correlates nicely with my over on the Rams team total.
We try to do something new for the first time.
It's my fault. It's always my fault.
Traffic for the next one. Okay, it's all good. I'm going to go Rams-Bears, highest scoring, throwing $25 on it. I trust the Rams offense. I'm fading the Bears defense. Pretty simple play for me. If you don't want to go on the actual game, you can get a little bit of plus money here if you do think there's going to be points, but you don't want to have to worry about the other ones. Let's talk about lowest scoring game, and I will come to you first, Will.
I will take the Seahawks and 49ers as the lowest scoring game. I get why Texans Patriots is the favorite here, but we've got history here with 2 games this season where the Seahawks and the 49ers had really low scoring games. I think we see it again. I think there's a lot of value in taking that at like plus 250.
I'm with Will, 50 on the 49ers Seahawks as well. I think it should be a lot closer to Texans Patriots in terms of odds, which is the big favorite, just based on what we've seen earlier in the season with these teams and where the injuries are for San Francisco.
And I totally agree that earlier snafu was Will's fault. But I'm taking Patriots Texans to be the lowest scoring, just because the Patriots defense, to me, now that it's healthy, is almost as good as the Texans.
I don't know why that was funny to me. Okay, Bills, Broncos, I'm putting $25 on it. The second longest odds, but they really shouldn't be. The market's pushing this down for a reason. Broncos, one of the best defenses, one of the best under teams in the NFL. Bills are limping into this one, so I'm not expecting many points there. Cold, windy. Wouldn't be surprised, too, if they lean on James Cook with all the Allen's injuries, so under there. Favorite player stat leader, RJ.
Yeah, Will's the only one with the play here, so I'll leave him the floor, but I'm just going to lean Caleb Williams passing yards.
I'm going to take Josh Allen, most rushing yards, and that did it again. Sorry, Larry. Josh Allen, most rushing yards, 22-1. That's a huge number. Maybe we don't see a lot of running backs go for yards, and Josh Allen steals this.
I like Kyron Williams plus 550 because I think James Cook will struggle.
It's been a long day, guys. We're almost there. We only have a few shows left. I'm going to go with Stafford passing yards leader plus 250. Decent volume, decent value. Super Bowl futures. This is a one that's important. Will Brinson, you go first. That way we can't mess this up.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to take 20. I'm going to mess them up anyway if I screw up the graphics department here. I'm going to take 20 on the Bills Seahawks Super Bowl matchup 6-1, and also 20 on the Patriots Rams Super Bowl matchup. I've got the Bills and the Rams already in the Super Bowl. I'm going to hedge. I know it says Texans. Ignore that. I've got Patriots too.
Larry?
I got 50 on the NFC West. They got about half the teams left.
All right, RJ?
I put 100 on that same bet. I don't see how we're not going to have value on that in the Super Bowl.
It's my last time possibly to bet the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, but I think they can get there. I'm going to put $50 on them. The schedule is getting tougher, but it doesn't matter. We're going to the Super Bowl. Catch the early edge every day. Scan that QR code to watch. Now, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Enjoy the divisional round.